Hey, what's going on everybody? Today I'm in the garage and I'm going to be rebuilding my CRF450R Caliper that I have fitted to my KX65. This is part of my big brake setup and I've been having some issues with the pads not retracting, so it drags a lot. So hopefully a little bit of rebuild and that'll take care of that. I've also got a new line that I'm going to slap on here. This one's a little bit long. So the first thing I'm going to do is just pull off the line and drain all the brake fluid. This is considerably easier to do on the bike, so I'd recommend that if you were changing your line. Okay, so I got the line off and just capped with some paper towel so it doesn't leak all over the place. Got the master over here, but we're just going to be focused on the caliper today. I'll do a rebuild on the master cylinder another time. So I got the all balls rebuild kit and I just want to double check what comes in here. I think it's the seals, the little rubber boot, and then a new pin for this. Let's make sure before we dive in. There's a little rubber boot, seals, new washers, new cap, more seals, and then the pin. Nice. Before I give this a clean, I'm going to pop out the brake pads. They're in pretty decent condition, I think, so we should be able to reuse those. We've got a little wear on the pin. Oh yeah. You can definitely tell that the pads were getting hung up in those grooves. It's actually worn a pretty noticeable groove. Like I can feel it with my finger pretty easily where each of those pads were sitting. So that's probably most of the drag right there. These brakes look like they got nice and toasty. Alright, we can pop off the bracket. Get our other shim out of there. My grease is pretty old and mostly dried up. Probably another good point for the caliper not moving like it should be. There's like no grease in there. Pop this off while we're here. Okay, so now I want to get these pistons out, and because I didn't pump them out while it was on the bike, I want to use some compressed air and blow them out. So just got the pads in here to kind of keep them from flying. Let's see if we can pop out the pistons a bit. Oh, there goes one. There we go, so we blew the two out a little bit. Now let's move one of the pads out of the way so we can extend it a little bit more. Uh-oh. Only got one out. Should note that I'm also wearing safety glasses so I don't blow brake fluid into my eyes. Alright, let's see if we can get them both to pop out. I got one. Alright, not my preferred method to take this out, but I wrapped some electrical tape around some channel locks. Woo-wee! That was stuck in there. Looks like I did nick them up quite a bit, even using the electrical tape. With those out, we can see the seals in here. We've got the front seal and the back seal, and very carefully, I'm going to try and pick these out without touching the bore at all. I don't want to mess that up. Just want to get the seals out. There's our first one. Let me get another pick. Need something a little longer. Second seal on the other side. There we have it. Fully disassembled caliper here. So I'm going to get rid of all the disposable parts that we have replacements for, and then we're going to clean up everything else with some brake cleaner here. So there's still a little bit of surface gunk on here. It was just way too hard to get off, so even after some Brillo pad that was rough. But I cleaned the bores out and they are nice and clean. There is some pitting around the first seal area, which I'm not thrilled about, but don't think that's going to be too much of an issue. With just some brake clean and a microfiber, that cleaned up beautifully. Let's try this one. So this piston didn't clean up as nicely. There is that kind of groove that I saw. I don't think it's deep enough to make a problem out of it. I can't like catch a fingernail on there, but it's definitely worn. So apparently I'm a bit of a hoarder, and I actually had two other calipers, and I pulled the pistons out of all of them except for the one that's stuck in there. And I cobbled together a set of pistons that looks just immaculate. So these are the ones I'm going to put back in. And then I've got some spares that this one probably could have run. It's just got a small wear line, and then this one just a few nicks near the top. While those are marinating over in the corner, we can get some of the seals on, our new seals here. There we go. This guy's a little bit of a bear to get in. This is like attempt number 8. Just give this a little tug on through. There we go. Our seals have been chilling for probably about 10-15 minutes, so we can get these into our caliper now. Kind of like that. That's interesting. The O-ring is just ever so slightly twisted. Let's see if I can give it a little help there. There we go. It is nice and seated. Do the next big one. It's super hard just to get it to land on the seal lip there. But once you do, it kind of falls into place. Just make sure it's not twisted like the other one. Oh, looks nice and flat. So now I can do the small ones. And this guy as well. Perfect. And now we can take our sweet pistons and give them a little bit of a bath in brake fluid and try and press that in nice and evenly. Number 2. Now we don't need any more brake fluid around here. Don't want that on our pads. And it's time for some caliper grease. This we're going to put on this slide here. As well as this slide. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a screwdriver that should fit in both of these boots. Yep. I'm going to pop some in there. And clean the excess off. Cool. Now we can get our shims back in. Oop. Backwards. There we go. This one goes like here. Yep. We have a bracket that goes in. I'll work that grease in there. And again, remove any excess that's squeezed out. That clip back in. And now we can get our pin, our new pin, slide that through. Last but not least, we get our little cover on. I think you're actually supposed to take the bleeder screw out to install it, but it is flexible enough that you can work it around like so. There we have it. Freshly rebuilt caliper. Let's slap it on the bike. Almost forgot to put the pin cover back on. Now it's done. Now I can go put it back on the bike. All right, so I got the brake all reinstalled here on the bike, and I went ahead and bled it. We got the new line coming through here. It's a little bit shorter, so it actually tucks up a lot better than the previous one. And then I've got the super sweet caliper all bolted up here, and finally put some safety wire on these bolts. It was kind of driving me nuts that I didn't have it on there before. But what I'm most interested in is seeing how free the wheel can spin now. It's already feeling pretty light, not a lot of drag. I was getting about 2 to 3 revolutions spinning it before, so let's see what we get now. Got a little pink dot here so we can kind of keep tabs. That was about 10. There still is a little bit of drag in there that I think I can work out. I really want to find a floating 250 millimeter rotor. I haven't seen them anywhere. 73 Moto Parts makes a whole brake setup that's a 220 millimeter, and I believe that is a floating rotor. So I think that's a lot less drag than the weird custom setup I've got going on here. But this is huge. This will help a lot in any of the races with the amount of drag that I was fighting against. I mean, this bike doesn't make a whole lot of power, and with my 200-pound self on it, I'll take anything I can get. Super stoked with how this turned out. Thanks for hanging out with me in the garage. I'll see you in the next one.